Mahabodhi. Good evening and welcome to people online and offline here, the Vihara. So as usual, we'll start our Sunday discourse. So that was brief meditation about being aware of the breaths, our in-breath and out-breath. Our in-breath and out-breath is always with us all the time. We are breathing all the time. It's just that we are not mindful enough to know it clearly. Because if we know the breath, then we can know how the things are. The breath is a very important aspect of our living. If we are alive, then we are breathing. When we die, the breath stops. But then this breath also is very closely connected with our own mind. If our mind is in a good state, then our breath becomes peaceful. If our mind is not in a good state, then our breath becomes rough, hoarse breathing. When people get agitated about something, when people are agitated about anything, then their mind isn't very peaceful. Then their breath also becomes very rough, hoarse. How do people become agitated? If they like too much or they dislike too much. Anything. If they like anything too much, they become agitated. If they dislike anything too much, they become agitated. Then there is no peacefulness in the mind. That mind has no peacefulness, that mind has no stability. It goes to the extreme of liking, and afterwards it goes to the extreme of dislike. So as you experience every day you encounter the objects of the world. We all have eye, ear, and nose, and tongue, and body, and mind. And through these six senses, we are experiencing the world. Through the eye, we can see things, visible things. Through the ear, we can hear the sounds. Through the nose, the smell comes. So through these six senses, we experience the objects, their objects. I can only see the things, I cannot hear. I has no ability to hear. Ear has the ability. But ear only can hear the things, but it cannot see. So everything is working in a certain manner. And anything that comes through these six senses, whatever the pleasant ones come, whatever we see pleasing to the eye, mind grasps it. Whatever we see unpleasing to the eye, again the mind grasps it. In the first case, in the case of pleasing ones, pleasant ones, it says this one is good, maybe I want this. When it is unpleasing, says this one is not good, I don't want this. And every time it gets stuck like this. Every time it gets stuck like this to the objects of the world, big or small. It can't get out of it, unfortunately. Can't find a place where it can stay peacefully. There's no refuge of the mind. This type of mind, which goes to the liking and then gets disliking and then to liking and then to disliking again, this type of mind has no real refuge. This type of mind will always be unstable. And it will not bring us any kind of great happiness. It is impossible. So this is like looking at the world in the way of the world, you can say. Looking at the world through worldly ways. And this is disliking and dislike. But that's how people do all the time. Wherever their liking is, they get stuck. Wherever their disliking is, they get stuck. And then they keep on doing this all day, all their lives. You see here, right? Wherever mind is mind likes something, it gets stuck. Dislikes something, it gets stuck. It doesn't recognize. What does it not recognize? That the things that we experience through these eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, the things that we experience, none of them is really stable or permanent. You see something. Like say, today you buy a new car. Today you buy a new car. A very nice, shiny, expensive car. And then you start using it. When you first look at the car, when you bring it from the showroom, then you have a feeling. Then you use it for a day or two, you have a little different feeling. And then you use it for 1 month or 10 months, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, you have another feeling every day. Every time you look at it, the feeling isn't the same. Is it same? After 5 years, do you feel the same as you see the first day? No. But then this is not where we look. This we don't pay attention to this. That's why we have no wisdom. We don't pay attention to where we need to pay attention. So the feelings are different because the object is changing. It is getting used more and more. It is getting used the car more and more. It's being older and older. Your feeling of liking gradually changes. Then at a certain time you say, I don't like this car anymore. Then it becomes dislike. Same thing. When children are small, parents love them a lot. When the same children grow up, with the same children, their parents fight. Because it's never going to be same. It's always changing. Eye, the object of the eye, changing. The ear and the object of the ear, sound, changing. Every day, every time, every moment it is changing. Not like it will change after 5 years. No, not like this. This body, you see, this body we have. It is changing. If it did not change, will you grow up? You will always stay small, newborn babies only. If it did not change, then you will not grow. There's no growing up of people. There's no growing up and going to middle age and going to old age and no going to death, nothing. Nothing. But then these things are there, as you can see that I was like this 10 years before, and then before another 5 or 10 years before I was like this, but now I am like this. And then I will keep on changing this body. This body will change. So the things, the objects of the world, visible thing or sound or smell or taste or touch sensations or thoughts and perceptions and feelings in the mind, all these things are changing. The eye also changing, visible things are also changing. When you see one thing, you pay attention to that, and then next moment you see another, you pay attention to that. It's the same eye, yes, it's just the physical base of the eye may be same for some time, for a very short time, for milliseconds. But even that receiving the object, paying attention to that object, understanding, comprehending, that's also not same. Neither the eye nor the objects of the eye. Neither the ear nor the objects of the ear. None of these things are. So then, that's why I said, when people depend on these things too much, they think this is what is reliable. This is what I need to depend on. Anything connected with these things. Then they think this is my refuge. This is the thing I really want. People say, no, this is the job I really want. This is the thing I really want to do. People say like this. After some time, they become bored. They become dissatisfied, unhappy. No, I don't really want to do this anymore. It's boring. Like you get a job, you want a job where I can travel to this place and that place. I can travel to so many cities. Every month I want to go to this city, that city, this country, that country. High-flying job, they say. You fly too much, then you become tired. No, this is too much. I don't want to. I want to sit in one place. Why? Because this will change. Your perception will change. Bound to change. So this is where the wisdom is. Knowing this change is where the wisdom is, nowhere else. Recognizing the change is where the wisdom is. It doesn't arise in this hall. It doesn't arise in our hands and legs. It doesn't arise in this building. It doesn't arise in the city or in this country or anywhere else. It arises within our mind. To be able to see them, to be able to see the nature of the things, whatever we receive, whatever objects of the world, how they are, how they really are. When we recognize them truly, then we are at ease with them. We don't get stuck with them. Just like our breath. Just like our breath. How is the breath? In breath goes in. And then short while, out breath. Another in breath goes in. Again, after a short while, out breath goes in. Just like this breath. It goes, stays for some time, and then it finishes, it goes out. Just like this breath. Then when you know the breath, then you know everything is like this. Everything is like this breath. When you know it clearly, then you don't have to be so obsessed with things. So this is looking at the world through wisdom. When you look at the things with wisdom, then you are looking at it correctly. This is what the Buddha was teaching us. He was not telling us, don't look at the world. He was telling us, look at the world with wisdom, with the right knowing. He wasn't telling us, don't eat, starve yourself to death. He says, you must eat to survive. But at the same point of time, know how you eat, how your mind feels when eating, when experiencing the taste, the pleasant ones, the taste you like, the taste that you may not like. Know them. When after eating how you feel, you know them. Before eating how you feel, you know them. And after eating and then again, after a long time, how you feel, you know them. Know all these. Then you will become wise. Then you will know the real value of the food. The food has the ability to sustain us for some time. When you eat, we get energy. This energy sustains us for some time. Few hours. So you will have breakfast. And then at your lunchtime, you feel hungry again. Why? That energy, whatever you consume through the food, that has gone down. Again, you need to eat. And you eat, maybe you feel hungry again in the evening. Then you eat again. So like this, knowing what is the function of the food, what it does to us, then you don't have to be so obsessed with the food. Whether the food is delicious or not, you will be at ease, because you know this is just to sustain the body, to keep it in a good shape, to keep it free from disease, keep it healthy. That's all, and keep it going for some time. That's all. You can't. It's not that you eat any food, any so-called healthy food, special food is that you may eat. You may like to eat. You can eat. But still, I'm telling you this: no matter how healthy you eat, you're still going to die. No matter what you eat and how healthy you eat, you're still going to die. Because the food has the ability to sustain for some time, not for all time. It doesn't. So when we look at the world rightly, then this is knowing the world. Normal people, they know the world through their liking and disliking, through their craving. This is knowing the world through ignorance. This is no good. This doesn't really lead to anything extraordinary. This doesn't really lead to freedom from suffering, because they always get stuck somewhere. When you know the world with ignorance, you are like a blind person. You go everywhere. You go everywhere. You go to towns and cities and tourist places and this and that. Everywhere you go, you ask people, what is this? I can't see. What is this? I can't see. If we are blind, we don't see. Then we keep on asking, this is a big mountain. What is it? This is a big lake. What is a lake? This is ocean. What is ocean? This is river. What is river? We don't know. Maybe we hear some sound of the water flowing or the breeze or something. Oh, it is like this. Then maybe we are thinking the breeze is the mountain. Or the sound of the water, then you feel that this is this ocean. So we really don't know. We are just guessing the word. But we really don't know. So people without wisdom are just like this. People without wisdom are just guessing the world. They don't really know. And in fact, most of the time they have the wrong idea. The idea which is not really right, which is not true, which is not based on fact. But people, one who can see, when he goes to the mountain, he sees, he knows this is what is called a mountain. This is what is called a forest. This is what is called a river or lake or ocean, whatever it is. So then he doesn't mistake the breeze as a mountain or the flow of the water as the river or ocean or anything. There is no confusion. So the Buddha, when he was teaching us to be wise, to practice, he was telling us to do this, to look at the world not through our ignorance, look at the world through wisdom. But wisdom doesn't come on its own. One fine morning, you don't get up and open your eyes and okay, now I see everything clearly. Now I know these things, how they really are. It is not like this. It's never going to be like this. Why? Because we haven't really trained our mind. Our mind is full of craving, full of liking and disliking, full of going to the extreme of I want and I don't want. So that mind is incapable of understanding. That mind has no power, no strength, no wisdom, no sharpness. It's a dull mind. It's no great deal. So whether this person is a very ordinary person going on the street or it's a big CEO of a company, it's all the same. Their minds are all the same because it's all ignorant mind. None of them see things clearly. Rich people and poor people and educated people and uneducated people, same. When their mind has ignorance, they're all same. They aren't great people. They're just people, but not great. Neither wise people. So only the one who sees, but one who pays attention, where one has to pay attention to the nature of change. Like as you pay attention to the breath. And then gradually wisdom arises. All the aspects of breath are changing. All the aspects of the body along with the breath are changing. all the aspects of the mind are also changing. There isn't anything that I can call fixed or permanent or stable. As you pay wise attention and as you mindfully see things without getting stuck to them, then the wisdom arises from this like this. There is no big deal. In this body, no big deal. It will grow and grow and grow gradually, and then one day it will break down. What you call death? Nothing. What is death? First your breath goes out, people stop breathing. Okay? And after that, body becomes cold. After that, body starts decomposing. And if you allow it to decompose for a long time, then only the bones will remain. And after that, bones will also become dust. So the air element goes out first, then the heat element, then the liquid element through decomposition, and then the solid element. That's all. This body has just these things, 4 things: solidity and liquidity and gas and heat. That's all. So as you see the dead body as it is, then you can see this is like this. All bodies. It's not just this body. Then you don't have to feel this one good, this one not good. This is pleasant, this is not pleasant. It's all the same. Then you don't have such confusions. So this is looking at things rightly. This is looking at things rightly. But then, for that, we need to practice. We need to develop our mind in the right way. That's why we practice meditation, to know things clearly. To know things clearly as they really are. Body as it is, mind as it is, suffering as it is, ending of suffering as it is. So, if you do like this, then you will become a wise person. Then you can look at the world wisely, not looking at the world through ignorance. Then wherever you go, then you don't need to ask people. No? Like I said, if a blind person goes everywhere, they have to ask. But then when you can see things. You don't need to ask people, what is a mountain? What is a river? What is the ocean? You don't need to ask. You know, this is mountain. What is the value of the mountain? You know, this much is the value. This much is the value of the river. This much is the value of the ocean. Then you know. Then you don't have such confusions. Then you can be at ease with all things around you. Then some people praise you or blame you. Whether you have someday success and another day not failure. Someday happiness, someday unhappiness. Someday the fame or glory, and someday loss of fame or anything. It's all the same. Then you can live at ease. You can live at ease with your family members, or at your workplace, or with your neighbors, or with unknown people, or known people, or people whom you like, or people whom you don't like. Then you can live at ease. This is looking at the world through wisdom. So, basically, what I wanted to convey is develop the wisdom through your practice, so that you don't have to look at the world through ignorance. Because looking at the world through ignorance will not really help you much. You will always remain stuck somewhere, unhappy, dissatisfied, burdened with your mind. If you really want to put down the burden, then develop the wisdom through your practice. So this much we offer for you, for your contemplation and practice and spiritual development. And with this, we will conclude. If anybody has any question, If no questions, then we can. Yeah. You see, you must understand this. When people, it's not that, say for example, people would say, one day Prince Siddhartha went and sat around the Bodhi tree, evening and by morning he was enlightened. But that's not the entire story. Thing is, people, if they have to become wise, if they have to become enlightened, they'll keep doing it. So it's not that one day suddenly everything arises in their mind, everything appears. It's not like this. They develop it gradually, and when it comes to fulfill, comes to the culmination, comes to the final point, then people become truly wise. But the culmination is the final point. But before this culmination, there's a long process of understanding and developing this wisdom, strengthening the wisdom, developing it at a deeper level. This always happens with all the people. So it's never a sudden thing. In fact, the Lord Buddha very clearly said, everything that I teach and every training, every practice that you do, and every way you develop the wisdom, it's all gradual and never sudden. Never sudden. So one has to see the entire process. How people practice, they practice for years together. They don't understand anything. But it's not that they don't understand. Maybe this little bit of wisdom always arising, but they aren't really able to make it a comprehensive one. So as it keeps on arising, then it becomes stronger and stronger. Then it becomes one comprehensive, strong wisdom. So all these bits and pieces, like say you have this, in the night time, so in your bathroom, maybe there's a leakage in your tap, and 1 drop and 2 drop and 3 drop. So you keep a bucket, and then by morning the bucket is filled. Our wisdom is always like this. Our spiritual practice is like it's never that at one go the bucket is filled. It's not. But drop by drop it falls, then it fills up one time. So when it fills up one time, then you see the filled bucket. But if you see it from the beginning, then you know, okay, it's not like this. It's drop by drop it has come. That's why it has become filled up. Are you clear on this? Conclude with a chanting. Sukhi bhaveya ne dukkha aham nichang aham ya pita cha me sukhi hundu achata tachaverino imani dhamma kirtam hi sata hundu sukhi sada tato parancha racchesu chakkavale sujantano sa. We'll meet again on next Sunday.